Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. So understand this, y'all. I can't sit up and say that Sa Ra Garvey is insincere. There is a proverb in another language that says, and I won't say which one, but the proverb pretty much says that today's secret you must pay to know is tomorrow's news free for everyone. And that's why I took a wait and see approach, and I said a little bit about Pearl. And instead of really giving a verdict, I told you how to reach a verdict or what to consider so that you could at least avoid the extremes in the meantime, knee-jerk reactions, because Negroes are good for falling for that. Now that I've waited a few more days, there has actually been some evidence to come out with a particular side. Now I have a grudge with her. Now, I admit I'm a guy that doesn't have time to listen to long live streams and panels a lot. But I also have to point out this. Sa Ra Garvey gave us in 20 minutes receipts. Sa Ra can be nice, but that doesn't mean he acquiesces to the BS. Now, someone say, wait a minute, black mind. Sa Ra had this to say about Islam, and he was demoting Islam to black folks. And how you going to sit up and say something nice about him? And my answer to that is, I'm talking about a particular issue. I'm not saying that he's my ally. I'm not saying that he is my friend. We've never met. And I don't know everything he said for or against Islam. For black folks, I'm not sure. I know what my stance is, but in this particular regard, the evidence is what he went off of. And when someone follows evidence and then draws a conclusion based on the evidence and informs you of what they have known and seen, then it makes me think that at the very least, they're not insincere. So what he said about Islam, I don't think was just because he doesn't want to give up drinking, or he doesn't want to wake up early in the morning and have self-discipline, and then he uses the Arabs as a convenient excuse. I think he actually heard this from people, and he's heard and seen video footage of light-skinned Arabs acting up, and that's the information to which he had access, so he told us what he saw. I think that's what more likely happened. Now, I would say this, Sa Ra, if you hear this, I'll tell you, I live with these folks, and though I'm not visibly black to them, I don't let them think for a second that I'm not. And now that I'm in Riyadh, I get a chance to meet more black folk from different parts of Saudi, and I can honestly say that what they deal with is better than what black folks in the United States would face. Living amongst Arabs is better as a black person if you had to. Gulf Arabs, I mean. But the Lebanese, they are a trip. And Northern Egyptians, they are a trip. They can be some mean mother cuss words. I ain't been to Libya. I believe the news reports now, but when the news reports first came out about them enslaving black Africans, it wasn't true. They were auctioning passengers off because of the fees that the passengers were paying, but they weren't auctioning slaves, but that did change. So the rumor preceded the truth of that statement. But by the same token, most of Libya is against that. In any case, it is nuanced, and I know the nuance that he doesn't know. But getting back to the main point, I was actually waiting to see what Sa Ra Garvey's reaction was going to be. I knew there had to be one. I was just waiting on it. And when Sa Ra Garvey reacted, he did it very conveniently for me. It was 20 minutes, so I didn't have to sit up and listen for 40 or an hour when I don't have much time. And he brought receipts. And he showed the video of him trying to school Pearl in 2022, he said, which ain't that long ago. That means Pearl's been playing ditzy. The problem is that when women play ditzy, they wind up becoming ditzy for real. It doesn't help that Pearl's already a Western woman. Now, she can be an ally when it comes to gender, or she's been an ally when it comes to gender, I should say. But she comes out of the West, and she comes from one of the 1% wealthy families. So she's been allowed to try to play ditzy. She's been allowed to play ditzy. They do that. Western women do it to diminutize themselves and evade accountability. And at this point, we see that it's an act. And even if she's been deceived by her own act, she's still accountable. Okay, no. Now you are outright ignoring what you know. I'm not saying anything about her interviewing Nick Fuentes and being nice. I understand that. Jason Black has done that. I still think the contexts were different, and I don't want to compare apples to orange, but Pearl has made it a point now to take what Sa Ra has told her and just discard it. Well, I think, no, fuck the shuck up B word. Now you know certain things. Don't nobody flip a guck what you think if it ain't based on what you know. Hell, especially if it goes counter to what you know. Now we no longer care about your opinion. Your opinion's crap. As a matter of fact, your opinion is a sign of what other people should not opine. Now you're ditzy. Stereotypically speaking, the worst of the redhead and the blonde thrown together. But see, I wasn't going to really give her much smoke and fire. I didn't want to really give her much attention, and still don't, without evidence to support which one as to why. Was she a dingbat that just couldn't get it? Or was she playing dumb because she doesn't want to get it? Well, now Sa Ra Garvey showed us which one it is. Showed us. She tried to get him to sign a contract that wasn't even an intelligent thing for him to do. She tried to get him to commit without promising something in exchange. A lopsided commitment. Man, shuck that fit. She tried to do the contractual version, get him to agree to that which the U.S. used to force upon and impose upon us so that it could become the world power that it just now stopped being. That it's on its way out of being now as we speak. That's what they did. She tried it. Boy, that's American as apple pie. And the Brits did it too, because they colonized. It's as British as apple pie. That's some white wasp stuff, if I ever saw it. And she did it. She tried to get him to sign. I'm glad he didn't take that. And then she's got a manager, same ones that manage Candace Owens. That's a red flag right there, because Candace may be right about the deterioration of our culture, but she's wrong about the legitimization of theirs. Like they're okay. No, their individuals can be either way, but their society is not okay. If you think they are, you are a problem, and that's Pearl's problem. That right there is enough to make somebody ask, are you evil or just stupid? Now, many of us figured, okay, Pearl's just young, naive, kind of dumb. Now with Sa Ra showing us that she has crossed that boundary, and she did it in 2022 into just being evil. And it ain't going to do nothing but increase. As plausible deniability on the part of Pearl decreases with age and time, she's going to become more and more doubling down on this. Mark my words. She's going to move further right, like Nick Fuentes. She's going to be an ex-mud shark. And part of the problem here is that we black men are up here slanging Dingaling and slanging Johnson to broads like her without checking mentally who they are. We got to stop that mess. This is where, when it comes down to you young brothers, this is one of the reasons for which I cannot say that I would be proud of you, especially those of you that get pursued by white chicks. When you grow up in the West and they're chasing you down because you're good at your particular sport and you muscular, why would you still let them have it? Because it still confuses them, and it leads to the problem of the dingbats with which all of us have to deal later on. And not only romantically and intimately and maritally, but even in the workplace and things like that. You remove romance and them draws out of the equation, and many of you still got to deal with dingbat. Many Western men still got to deal with dingbat attitudes and conclusions to which these broads jump. That's why they're on panels looking stupid. Because some of them, if they can't get that, if they can't get the pink Johnson easily, they can go and get the chocolate wood. That is something for which I'm not necessarily proud of a lot of our youngsters. I don't want to hear about biology. I'm young, and I don't want to hear about that. Don't put your thing in crazy, but you also don't put your thing in stupid. And they are stupid in the States because they can be. And they'll play that if they're not really that dumb. Now, I knew she wasn't completely stupid. She managed to use her intellect to get that evidence against that coach. And I'm not blaming her for protecting her sister still. But Sa Ra Garvey now, he came with the receipts. I understand why he would have a disaffection and a grudge. See, Nick Fuentes, her interviewing Nick Fuentes just brought a lot of other things to light. That's what really wound up happening. Like I've stated, she wasn't wrong for being civil to him during the interview. I think she was somewhat unprofessional, but then again, it's not like she's on TV. It's just more so that she's on YouTube. She's not the only one to do that. So I really want to put the debits in the debit card and not put non-debits in that debit card. Call balls and stripes. I really want to do that in this case, like I generally do. And then this is one time when I can say that what she was wrong for doing was not making it clear enough that this is an interview. She was wrong for that. BGS seems to be on to something about her being a plant, and it's becoming a bit more apparent now because one type of plant, one thing in common with many plants is that they cannot support reparations no matter what support it has. No matter the merits of that argument, you cannot come out here talking about America owes its wealth to its black people. Because that would work by extension. Then before you know it, Western Europe owes its wealth to its former colonies. And don't get me started on France. So it would have a domino effect. And then before you know it, Western Europeans will be just as poor as Eastern Europeans, and we would be their masters. That's what would happen. So they can't do that. I mean, the timing and things, I don't believe in coincidence. She probably is a plant, like BGS said. If that wasn't the original plan, certainly somebody's trying to utilize it that way now that things have taken their current momentum. It did one way or another. But Sa Ra showed that you got this manager. He showed this, he explained it, and then he showed it, brought the receipts and showed, you know what, something is nefarious going on. We can talk about these issues, but let me tell y'all what's going on behind the scenes. Her manager's up there filming these parties. strange parties. What's he trying to do? White-male everybody? We know a setup when we see it. That's a setup. Here, drink this scotch. Here, drink this Glenlivet. Here, do this on the board. Here, go and explain these things while my manager's sitting up there filming. Go ahead and let us white-male you in case you turn later. She can't turn around and say, well, you know, Garvey was actually at the parties doing this, that, and the other, unless she can show a video, because Garvey came out in front and said, I was there, and this is how I found out what it was. There you go, right there. Garvey was playing chess, not checkers. I mean, that's his footage. He got footage of the manager getting footage in case the manager did something dumb. That means that when Garvey recorded these things, Garvey knew that something was up. And he recorded it just to be able to do this in case and when we needed to know about this. Leads me to think that if Garvey really thinks that Islam can't be no kind of solution for black, well, if he says it, then he must really think it. It leads me to think that he's not just saying the right things for the wrong reasons. And this is going on during the month of Ramadan. And I don't think that this is a coincidence either, but that's another topic for another recording that I plan to do, following up El Guapo's video regarding witchcraft. That's the next one. The votes are in. I don't know exactly how many. Let me see. I don't know exactly how many voted overall, but what I do know is that there were those who did the votes, and the majority of the votes in the poll were that I should go ahead. It's 27 votes, and 93% of those 27 votes were that I should explain more. So that's going to be the next one, inshallah. Thank you all for listening, and I appreciate your support. And yes, hit the Cash App on your way out. As always, black heart, black mind, black out, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. Thank you for flying again with me on Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb, and keep jetting black with me till the wings and the wheels fall off. Racial and gender justice forever. And yeah, tap the Cash App on your way out of the vehicle.